Hello fellow coffee botherers, in this video I'm going to be talking in more detail about adjusting the internal grind settings on Sage or Breville coffee grinders and integrated grinder espresso machines. In various videos I've explained that if you're not able to grind fine enough, you can simply change the internal grind settings to make it finer. I've been made aware recently that some people are getting the wrong end of the stick here and are just jumping in before they've even used the machines and are making big adjustments to the internal grind settings. Please don't do this. So I thought I'd do this video to properly explain the internal grind adjustments, how to do it, and more importantly, how not to do it. So first, just to explain what this internal grind adjustment is. You may be aware that it's possible to do what's known as shimming with burrs, which just means to wedge something under the burr to take it closer to the other one for finer grinding. You can do this with the Gadget MD15, for example, to make it espresso capable, and it's very simple to do. I'll do another video on that soon. It just requires undoing the two screws to remove the top burr from the holder, putting a piece of thin card or thick paper under it and screwing it back on. Sage or Breville grinders and integrated grinder machines all have this very clever feature in the form of a threaded burr holder, which enables you to simply select an internal grind setting. So by turning it one way, the burrs are closer, turning it the other way has the opposite effect. All Sage or Breville integrated grinder machines and both of the grinders have the same 10 internal settings, and the machines usually come set to 6. So what is this internal adjustment really for? Once you've had your machine for a couple of years, you might find that the burrs are worn slightly, and the idea is that at this point you just adjust them finer to enable you to continue grinding as finely. So this feature allows you to get the maximum life out of the burrs. How the internal adjustment can be used though is that by taking them a notch finer from the factory preset 6 down to 5, you take the grinder to its finest possible adjustment with new burrs. And this is the important point to make. I'd never done any real research into this before, but now that I have, I can tell you that if your burrs are new, you shouldn't be taking your internal grind settings any finer than 5. You can, but it's pointless. The finest you can possibly adjust a grinder with the external grind adjustment is to the point that the burrs start to touch. If we call this 0 point, there's no way to go finer than this, and obviously there'd be no benefit of having the burrs clashing. The point of making a slight adjustment from 6 to 5, if you find you need to, is that from what I can tell, the factory preset 6 actually leaves a small amount of room to go finer still before you reach that 0 point. Not much, but a bit. If you put it to 5, the true 0 point on the external setting now becomes 1. You can find the 0 point for yourself by running the grinder with no beans in the hopper and just keep going finer with the grind until you hear a slight change in the motor sound. You'll hear the motor just start to labour slightly. Loosen the grind as soon as you hear that, meaning go coarser, but just note what the external setting is when you hear that. So with new burrs, there's no benefit in taking the internal grind setting any finer than 5. All you're going to do is move your 0 point higher up the range, so it's a pointless exercise. What I'd recommend is that you don't change your internal grind at all from the factory preset 6 until or unless you find that you're down to grind size 1 and you need to go slightly finer. If you do change the internal setting to 5 and you feel like you're nowhere near fine enough at this setting, it's probably a case of trying to use beans that aren't compatible with your setup, because this is a really fine grind. Humans managed to walk on the moon before someone realised that wheels on suitcases would be a good idea, which has nothing to do with clicking the like button, but click the like button if you've ever carried a suitcase. Thank you very much for watching, and if you love coffee and enjoyed this video, we've got tons of content about how to make better coffee at home to take you from beginner to home barista. We've got reviews and how-tos on the most popular machines. And if you like the sound of that, click on my face to subscribe. Tatty Bye!